All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, the deadline for a new collective bargaining agreement has come and gone for Major League Baseball. And with that said, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred announced today that the first two series of the regular season will be canceled. Both sides remain very far apart on a new deal as sticking points continue to be about money, service time, free agency, and the luxury tax. I'm not surprised by this, as I've been saying this for several months, and I said this goes back to when the lockout began back in December. Don't expect a full season this year. Don't expect baseball altogether. Rob Manfred and the owners thought that they could lowball the players, which they have consistently tried to do throughout this process, and they expected the players to immediately cave. They're not going to come out and say that, but this is what it is. And the players so far are sticking together. They are standing by their beliefs. And you know what? They are hunkered down right now for a battle. And I talk about the battle because, if, first and foremost, the foolishness surrounding the luxury tax and service time. And like I've said before, you are penalizing the big market teams for wanting to go out there and spend. You've increased the penalties for going over the luxury tax. And like I said before, if you're going to penalize the teams at the top with the luxury tax, then you have to go out there and you have to have some type of floor for your salary and say, okay, guess what? If we're going to give you a hard cap at 150, you got to come out there and spend at least $75 million per team. That would be more fair. Of course, the service time, we've talked about it before. Teams are trying to nickel and dime, with the 3 years of arbitration, holding a player back for a month or so. So this way, his service time doesn't kick in for an additional year. And teams have nickel and dime that for years. And I mean, players are tired of it. And honestly, I don't blame them. You look at this, the big market owners versus the small market owners. And of course, there are more small market owners than there are big market owners. But nonetheless, these guys are trying to run the show and they're trying to penny pinch. And honestly, it is ruining the game as well as the product. And I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. Greed and egos are going to drive MLB into the abyss in regards to their popularity. They're not keeping up with the NFL. They're not keeping up with the NBA. And to show you how far that the mighty have fallen in regards to Major League Baseball and their popularity, this lockout continues to go into effect today. Games were canceled, and you don't hear the overwhelming public outcry that you heard in 1994 with the player strike. You don't hear the overwhelming outcry that you would hear if the NFL had a lockout, if the NFL lost games, if the NFL went on strike. And the same thing can be said about the NBA. So, what does that tell you? The sports scene overall is not the same as it was 30, 40, or 50 years ago when baseball was extremely popular. And in this sense, rather, MLB to me has really overplayed their hand because they lost fans in 94. They were able to get some back, a good portion of them back. And of course, the home run chase of the late 90s really helped to that. Where are you going to get that story from now? Because I'll tell you like this, if you lose some fans now, especially the under 30 crowd, guess what? They ain't coming back, the majority of them. So you have to deal with that. Both sides, they're probably going to take a break and come back and talk. The earliest that they could come back to the table and try to get something hashed out would be Thursday. But I'll tell you like this: don't hold your breath on getting a deal done. We've already seen the first two series be canceled. Two can quickly turn to four. Four can turn to six, and so forth. So I'm not surprised by this. I wasn't surprised by this back in December, and I'm not going to be surprised now. This is a problem that's not going to go away. This is MLB's brainchild, if you want to say the least, which they created. You have a situation where there was no sense of urgency back in December to fix this problem, and that situation has only gotten worse. The owners thought they could lowball and small changes to players, and the players are standing strong together. So let's see how this plays out. And again, I will continue to say it. Don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it would not surprise me that we don't see baseball at all for 2022. You just got to wrap your head around it because it is a strong possibility. But nonetheless, the lockout is not going away. We already have a shortened season. Let's see how far MLB is going to continue to feed the monster that they have created. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.